Jesse Palmer today, can he still throw the fade route on a fourth and goal?
Oh, guaranteed. It may dislocate his shoulder, but I can get it there.
What's different about you now physically than your quarterback days?
Body fat is up. I would say more gray hair. I'm wearing out the 10-pound dumbbells a lot more than I used to. I don't know if I ever touched those during my playing days. But listen, working out is still a big part. I don't know that that's something that can ever, that you could ever let go of. So I still try to strength train 3 to 4 days a week, still doing 2 days of cardio. The workouts look a lot different. I'm not racking on a bunch of weight on the squat rack anymore. Well, like we used to. I don't take creatine like I used to or phosphagen. But physical fitness is still a very, very important thing to me now. And at my age, I think flexibility, mobility, I think are things that I focus more on now than I probably did when I played.
Now, do you have a routine now? Do you have something where it's 6 a.m. I'm at the gym, or is it just whenever you find the time, you do it?
It's tricky. The routine, it's not consistent simply because I'm always traveling. I'm always in hotels. I'm always staying, and I'm in other countries. But I always have to find the time. If I know I'm going to stay in a place for a couple weeks, I'll try to strength train Monday, Wednesday, Friday, fit some cardio in, I think Tuesday and Thursday, and try to take the weekend off and let myself recover. That's ideal for me if I know I have that stretch. Otherwise, it's work out at the hotel if I can. It might be a body weight workout in the hotel room if the hotel doesn't have a gym. But we're constantly moving and we're constantly going. I need to get a workout in. I have to eat right and I have to sleep right, I think, to try to maintain brain function and body function for all the jobs that I'm working on.
Well, with you, everything you have going on right now, Bachelor, Helluva Good, Jay Palmer, ESPN, and I'm missing one or two. Are you like you consider yourself now like an elite multitasker?
I don't know if I'm a lead at it. I'm multitasking for sure. I know that. I've got a lot of different things going on. But it's like a quarterback mentality, sort of, in a way, right? You just got to play the next play. I think sometimes if you look at your schedule, you take a step back and you look at the month coming up and you say, okay, I have all these different things, it can feel overwhelming. I think for me, just focus on what's next. What do we have to do today? And then do that to the best of your ability. Prepare the way you have to prepare. Take care of yourself the way you have to take care of your body and your mind to be successful that day. And then focus tomorrow on tomorrow. It's the same way when I played quarterback too. If you throw a touchdown or you throw an interception, that's now in the past. You have to worry about the next thing coming up.
With that great transition, oh, father, new father, congratulations. That's what I
Thank you.
forgot.
Thank you.
With that, when it is comes to, I guess, quarterbacking and entrepreneur, is there a similarity? Is there something as far as mindset where it's if you go maybe 0 for 6 on your first quarter, and those first iterations of Jay Palmer may not be to your liking, do you have to stay focused and say, well, let's just scrap it, move on to the next? Or is there sometimes you say, I don't know if I'm any good at this anymore. Maybe three's enough. Let's try something else.
I think it's a combination of, I think, being able to turn the page and focus on the next play. But I think at some point too, you also have to be able to self-evaluate. You have to watch the film. You got to look at past performance and you got to look at opportunities to try to do things better. I think especially when you're doing something new for the first time. I'd say the biggest thing about being an entrepreneur or playing quarterback is you're competitive no matter what and you want to win. And hopefully that competitive drive helps fuel you to have success, and to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and self-evaluate and be honest with yourself, and make decisions accordingly moving forward.
What's hard? What's more difficult to move on from? 0 for 6 or just having struggling with a new career?
Over six is pretty tough, especially when you're getting hit by 300-pound people. It's one thing to get your mind turned to the next play, but your body doesn't always react as well. But listen, it sounds so cliche, but I think a lot of the lessons that we learn in sports are really are applicable to our everyday life. And I think neither of those examples you gave are ever easy. But it's important that you are able, no matter what, to be able to turn the page and look ahead.
Now, is there something Coach Spurrier ever told you back in your football days that still applies now to these new chapters in your life?
I think you're only as good as your next game. I don't think you can rest on your laurels. He was always really careful about good publicity, and you have a good game, you throw for 300 yards, you throw three touchdowns, and the media saying nice things about you, that can change in the blink of an eye with a bad game. And, you can't rest on past success. That's something that I've always kept with me for sure, is just really trying to just, again, focus on what's coming up next. How do you improve? How can you be better? It's important to try to always improve ourselves, I think, mind, body, soul, whatever it is, in our lives.
But did you have a way of embedding that into your mindset or over the
Kind of
years?
just, it's something that well, I mean, I experienced it. And I think maybe that there were times where I had some success early and started to think things were going to be easy and then failed. And then I saw that the change and I saw the difference. And so I think sometimes we learn a lot from our struggles as well. That's really important. It's not just the good moments, but it's the time. It's important to fall down. You got to be able to pick yourself back up and move forward again. So I think personal experience and failure, I think, has helped kind of ingrain that in me too.
Did he ever give you advice on The Bachelor? Did he ever tell
No
you?
advice. No, I didn't get any advice from Coach Spurrier. Coach Coughlin was our coach on the Giants when I became the Bachelor. But I didn't get a lot of advice from him either. He told me once in a stretch line that he was shocked with who I ended up choosing at the end. So I knew he was watching, but that was the input
That
I
made me
got.
giggle for today.
Yeah.
For no reason. What made you decide, or what made you get into onion flavored beer?
This was exciting for me. So obviously, football is my favorite time of the year. It's the best time. It's the best season. It's a time for friends and family and having people over for watch parties. So I'm really excited to be partnering with Helluva Good to really kind of raise the big game day experience. I'm a massive fan of Helluva Good dips. They're a staple in my household. They're a staple at all my viewing parties. It will be no different this year. There will be chips, dips, and beer. It's the best combination for the big game. And this is an exciting time of year. It's a perfect synergy because Helluva Good and Harpoon Brewery are coming together and they're releasing a limited edition beer featuring the iconic French onion dip flavor from Helluva Good, which is my favorite dip flavor of theirs as well. And they're doing it just in time for the big game. So people can try French onion amber ale at Harpoon Beer Hall in Boston, Massachusetts. They can also try them in exclusive tasting events that are happening around the country in cities like Philadelphia or New York and Jacksonville. People are going to absolutely love it. And I encourage people to go onto Instagram and go at Helluva Good Dips to get more details um, on this campaign between two things that I really love, especially this time of year.
I didn't hear Phoenix or Scottsdale. No,
Go on,
We're SOL or what?
go on Instagram and find out how you can get involved. You'll get the answers you need. It's the good people of Scottsdale deserve to try this as well.
Was hell of a good part of it, I guess. I guess a factor in your body fat percentage going up, or
I think that was mostly, especially with the holidays upon us, that there were a lot of different factors definitely going into that. But this is one time a year I do not mind because these hosting parties and Hell of a Good Dip and Harpoon Brewery, it's synonymous to me with the big game. It's always there, and it's something that I know my friends and family enjoy as well.
now can you watch a game as a fan, or do you have to analyze it just like you were in the broadcast booth?
Oh, I'm analyzing everything. That's a great question. I look at everything through the eyes of a quarterback and game planning and situationally. It's like if I'm broadcasting a game for ESPN and calling it, that's the same way I'm watching it at home. And it actually drives my wife crazy because she'll be with me on the couch and I'll just be talking as if I were a quarterback or an analyst, color analyst watching the game. And she's like, "Can you just shut up and just let them talk and just we can watch this game? I'm gonna turn the volume off because it doesn't matter at this point. I'm talking so much through it. It's really, really hard to let go."
So which games got you the most, I guess, amped up?
College football, well, college football playoff, obviously, I'm super excited about. I love the matchups in there. By the way, it was tremendous watching Arizona State and their run.
Wow.
The Big 12 title game and Cam Skattebo and the game I called at the Peach Bowl against Texas was incredible. And obviously, with the postseason upon us now in the NFL too, leading up to the big game, again, great matchups each and every week, and to see the best players. Um, Kansas City and Detroit are the two teams that I have my eye on in the NFL moving
Why?
forward.
Why?
Dan Campbell was my teammate on the New York Giants. He's done a phenomenal job head coaching in Detroit. A guy that his players, I think, absolutely love playing for. He just resonates with them so much, and I just feel like Detroit Lions fans are some of the best fans in the NFL, and they deserve a championship. So I'm excited to see if they can take that next step. And then I'm a big Patrick Mahomes fan, but also I love dynasties, and you don't get to see them very much in sports. And I know people are probably getting sick of the Chiefs winning all the time, but I think sometimes you have to be able to take a step back and appreciate greatness when it's right in front of you. And for the Chiefs to have an opportunity to win their third straight Super Bowl, I think is really unique. Whether you're a football fan or not, I think that's something that's really cool to watch.
Now, does that last game, 38 nothing, 31 nothing, is that just laugh off now? No one cares.
I don't think
Is
that
that
affects them because they were sitting a lot of their starters and keeping people healthy, having the number one seed and having the bye weekend. I think that's a team that knows when it's the postseason, you've got to turn it on. I think that's what we should expect from the Chiefs. Keep in mind, they won 6 games in a row with their starters heading in. And we always talk about the most dangerous teams in the postseason are the ones that are peaking at the right time. The Chiefs are dangerous right now because they're getting healthy too. Isaiah Pacheco back at running back and Hollywood Brown at receiver makes their offense so much more dynamic. So, a team that knows how to get it done, that's played the best on the biggest stages. I think to the Chiefs, this is a team that when the lights go on in the playoffs, they're going to be ready.
and a follow up to, I guess, from before when we talked about, I forget what we talked about, but no, watching the game from an analyst point of view. Now, when you're an analyst, when you're in the broadcast booth, can you interview from a former football player's point of view? For instance, I'm trying to, like, if you interview Coach A, B, or C, they give you an answer. Do you think in the back of your head, you know what? Coach Spurrier wouldn't have done it like that. Coach Spurrier would have done something different. Or if we were in this position, Florida would have been doing this instead.
I think it's important. I think in no matter what we do, but especially in sports broadcasting too, I think it's unique when you can draw upon your own personal experiences and add layers to the storytelling. I think part of our job is when we interview coaches and players is to help tell their stories and their perspectives and weave that into the game throughout. But I'm always a big fan of adding perspective, and I think sometimes personal experience can be one of the most effective ways to do that. So I try to do that where I feel it's most organic throughout a game. I think it really helps.
Mhm. Yeah. Back to Arizona State. I mean, do you see Camp Skattebo's game as being a NFL level? I mean, just a battering ram type of player?
I think it is. I'll tell you, I think there's a bit of a misconception about him too. I think everybody just sort of sees Cam Skattebo as a guy that's just sort of this one cut north-south runner who's running everybody over. I think when you watch him play and you study his film, you realize he's got a lot of tools in the toolbox. I think he's a lot more versatile than people give him credit for. He's a three down back. He's a guy who can run it between the tackles. He can go outside. He can catch the ball. He can block. He showed us against Texas. He can throw the ball. There's a ton of things this guy can do. And he's got moves. He's not just a battering ram. He's a guy that can make people miss. I think he's a three down back, and I think his game translates really well to the NFL level. I expect him to have
Once again,
success.
what is the locker room like 5 minutes to game time when it is CFB championship time?
I think you can cut the intensity with a knife. I think in the locker rooms I've been in and what I've seen is pure focus, pure adrenaline. And I think it's an opportunity for a few moments for everybody to really think about the journey, not just that season, but in their lives of what's brought them to that moment. I think everybody understands that they're on the precipice of potentially doing something that is lasting, an opportunity to win a championship and be remembered forever. So it's a unique opportunity, but I think the energy and the focus surrounding that big moment is something you just don't see very, very often. It's very special, very unique.
I mean, can you find the time just to reflect and I guess in a meditative way instead of thinking to yourself, what am I going to do if a weak side blitz comes and who's my hot route, stuff like that? Is it all going through your mind at the same time or
Yeah, it's like a hurricane in your head, really. And it's funny, different athletes I think prepare different ways. I think there are some people that do what you talked about. I think mental visualization and positive mental visualization is something that they really thrive on. They're thinking about having success in the games. I've played with teammates in the past that fell asleep and had to be woken up minutes before a game. They were able to literally shut it down and turn their brain off. I have no idea. I was never a guy like that.
Name
Uh,
names. Who?
it's just incredible. And I think everybody, the important part is no matter what it is you need to do, you got to get ready. And I played against guys that I saw out in the tunnel before the game, take their shoulder pads off and start ramming their shoulders into poles and posts to physically wake themselves up. People slapping each other in the face. It's all different types of things. Whatever it takes, you got to do you. And when there's 100 guys on a team in college football or 53 on a roster in the NFL, everybody has to do what they got to do to make sure they're ready to go.
So there is like a Lattimore effect, I guess, for some players, like the program.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That is true. There is some truth to that.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if they're smashing their face through windshields in the parking lot before going into the stadium, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that going on. It's crazy.
What did Coach Spurrier tell you guys? Like maybe before Sugar Bowl against Miami? Like what was that pregame?
I think his message to us oftentimes was, just be prepared, be ready. It's a great opportunity. We're coached up. We've got a plan. We've got to go execute. You got to meet and you have to meet their level of intensity and enthusiasm. I think oftentimes Coach Spurrier had a pretty good barometer for what the other team might be doing or thinking, what their energy might be. And I think more often than not, because we were a very successful team in the 4 years I was at Florida. He knew we were always going to get our opponent's A game. And I think his biggest concern is that we were becoming complacent. And he wanted to make sure that we were bringing our A game to the field to match that. He didn't want it to be too late and to have to catch up later. And I think oftentimes that was the message from coach. Success.
Well, Jesse, last question I do have is when you do workouts, you wear your Jay Palmer line or
Always, yes. We're Jay Palmer, Gators and Giants mostly, repping the home team. But what's great about Jay Palmer is that it's versatile. And so whether you're at the gym, whether you're at home, whether you're at work, whether you're on a date with your wife or your significant other, you're at the airport, all in the different places I am. Jay Palmer is pretty functional. I'm lucky for that, but absolutely, it's in my gym bag every time I go.
no, do you ever have the opportunity when someone you're in the gym or somewhere, wherever, and someone, hey, nice shirt. What brand is that? And you just go, it's mine.
It's actually my brand. You can get it on at fanatics.com. That's right. Still feels weird saying that. I will admit, but yes.
Is that just something every athlete? Last question I do have. Last question. I forgot this earlier. And it comes back to entrepreneurship, but the way your career's gone from football. When you were a senior in high school, when you were senior in college, what was your mindset back then? What was your dreams, goals? Did you think of reality TV, ESPN, football, or clothing, beer, or was it totally different?
No, I was a single track football. My goal always was to play quarterback in the NFL. And I was willing to do whatever it took to do that. But I ate, I breathed, and I slept football with that single goal in mind. I've been super, super lucky in my life and my career of all the opportunities I've had that have come after football. I think football opened a big window, it opened a big door to some of these other opportunities. And I'm very, very lucky. But I was hyper focused and obsessed with playing in the NFL.
Best moment.
Getting drafted, I think, by the New York Giants. That was the realization of all the hard work leading up to that moment, and also an opportunity to be thankful and grateful to all the people. There were a lot of people who helped me achieve that. Really, really special.
Does it seem like it was that long ago that you were playing college? Because I didn't realize it's been 25 years.
I know when you say
I forgot it was when you were
say it
exposed.
that way, it feels like it was forever ago, but no, there are days where it just feels like last week I was back at the swamp, slinging it around.